So when it comes to pleasure, how do you know what feels good to you? I think this is a really, really great question. And I think we will always be learning because our bodies are always changing, our relationships are changing, and our experience of sex and sexuality is always changing too. And I think the thing that I always tell people is that you learn by doing. You will not learn about your own pleasure. You will not learn about what turns you on or what you like or how you want to be touched just by thinking about it. Thinking can get you far enough, it might give you some inspiration or some ideas, but you learn about pleasure through doing. And this is where we might bring in some somatic practices to support an individual in learning about their body. So somatic essentially, or let's break that word down, soma is the Latin word for of the body. And somatic practices in recent years are getting a lot of attention, especially when we're talking about working with trauma, but also when working with pleasure, because we need to start bringing more awareness to the body. And previously, we've understood sex through just what's going on in the mind, but we need to bring the body into it as well. So a somatic practice that I like to give to all of my clients, and I have it in my book as well, is a practice called body mapping. Essentially, what this is, it's considering your body as a map and you're about to explore it. I always like to start off with a safe area or perhaps a non-sexual area like the hands, because this can feel more comfortable exploring it than, say, going straight to the genitals. So you might look at your hand and think, how would I like to touch my hand? And you essentially follow pleasure, exploring different kind of sensation or pressure. You might bring in some sensory items. You might close your eyes whilst you're doing it. You might also want to try doing this with someone else. Then once you've really followed pleasure and followed what feels good, you might want to try this on a more sensitive area or an erogenous zone. So that could be your chest or your stomach or your inner thighs or your bum, and exploring that. And again, you're getting a sense of different pressure, sensation, speed, rhythm, and so on. Then once you've kind of got that and you've got an idea of what feels good and what doesn't feel good, you might want to bring this to your genitals. So again, it's not necessarily goal focused and it's not with the pressure of needing to orgasm in a specific amount of time, but instead it's just following what feels good. And I think that is a really great practical activity for when we're looking at this question around what is pleasure and what feels good for me. I know that it can feel pretty daunting, and this is a big sort of piece of feedback I hear in session. People will say, I feel overwhelmed when someone asks me what I want or what feels good for me. So instead of having the pressure of needing to figure it out or know straight away, try coming into your body first, exploring through a solo practice or through masturbation, because you will always be learning about pleasure.